What's up, guys? On this first episode of Fan Film Friday for 2024, I'm checking out Never Hike Alone 2 by Womp Stomp Films. This one is a long-awaited sequel to Never Hike Alone and stars Tommy Jarvis himself, Tom Matthews. If you're not familiar, Womp Stomp Films is an awesome film company that makes short films. Head on over to their page and check them out. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe. And now, onto the film. It starts off with a little kid fishing in Crystal Lake who turns out to be Tommy Jarvis's son. After the son mentions Jason's name, Tommy gets concerned and then all of a sudden, Jason pops out of the water and grabs him. But it was just a dream. We then get a look around Tommy's room and see that he's been obsessed with Jason his whole life pretty much, which is how it was in the theatrical movies as well. So naturally, Tommy goes back to Camp Crystal Lake armed with a shotgun. He goes cabin to cabin, searching for Jason, but doesn't find anybody. After looking around a bit more, he runs into Rick from Friday the 13th Part 6, who is now the sheriff. And he still doesn't believe a word Tommy's saying about Jason. After the sheriff drives off, we see Kyle, the hiker from the first movie, leading me to believe this is a prequel, kind of. Tommy heads to the hospital where he works and has a really awkward conversation with one of his co-workers, Dr. Hill. Later that night, a Brad Dourif-looking guy is camping out with his girlfriend when there's a noise outside their tent. It turns out to be Kyle, who's all banged up from fighting Jason. As Kyle runs off, the two campers come face to face with Jason. Then, back at the hospital, Dr. Hill keeps having flashbacks of her son Mark, who was killed by Jason in the first movie, and she ends up spilling coffee everywhere. Tommy gets a call for an injured hiker out by the camp, and this is where the ending of the first movie happens. Jason kills the two paramedics, but Tommy's able to escape with Kyle still in the back. So there you go. From here on out, it's a sequel. A while later, Tommy stops to see if Jason followed them, and yep, he sure did. He gets blasted with a shotgun, and Tommy flees yet again. They arrive at the hospital, and Dr. Hill takes Kyle into surgery. As that's going on, Sheriff Rick has been going over old files of the Crystal Lake murders from previous movies, and decides to head back over there. He finds the paramedics dead and sends out an APB on Tommy, assuming that he's the killer. Back at the hospital, Tommy gives Dr. Hill his whole backstory dealing with Jason, but she doesn't really buy into it at all, until they watch the footage back from Kyle's GoPro. As Kyle's recovering, Jason shows up to the hospital to finish him off. But it's just Tommy checking on him. Tommy and Kyle plan to go back to the camp to find Pamela's head, thinking it will lure Jason out. However, then the sheriff cuts them off in the lobby. Out of nowhere, the power goes out and Jason massacres all of the deputies. Tommy and some others make it out to the parking lot where the sheriff sacrifices himself so that they can get away. Tommy, Kyle, and Dr. Hill make it to the camp, but so does Jason. They find Pamela's head, and then Tommy has a rematch against Jason that's pretty epic. Jason channels his inner Hawkeye and subdues Tommy with some arrows. Suddenly, Hill pulls a Chris Higgins and buries an axe in Jason's head. Now that Kyle has Pamela's head, Jason chases him to the lake. And when he goes to stab Kyle, he accidentally stabs Pamela's head instead. Her head falls apart in his hands, and honestly it looks like the inside of a baseball or something. It's weird. But, as Jason's distracted, Tommy comes behind him and cuts his head off with a machete. The following day, there's a press conference with the mayor about what just happened, and it's Shelley from Friday Part 3. Tommy and Kyle thank each other, and Tommy says he's done with hiking, at least for now. Sometime later, another YouTuber vows to pick up where Kyle left off, saying that he's going to go to Crystal Lake. The end. Wow, what a sequel. They really outdid themselves here. And Tom Matthews, man, that was awesome. There were a lot of cameos in this one, actually. Sheriff Rick, the mayor, and a lot of the extras, too. And I'm surprised Kyle survived, but I'm glad he did. If you want to see this one for yourself, head on over to Womp Stomp's page or check the link in the description box below. That does it for this episode of Fan Film Friday. If you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.